In this video, we will be comparing the OnePlus 11 to the Samsung Galaxy S23. The OnePlus 11 starts at $700 for 128 gigabytes, and the S23 starts at 128 gigabytes for $800. So it is a cheaper phone for the OnePlus 11, but for 256 gigabytes on the OnePlus 11, you're paying $800, while on the S23, you're paying $860. Which means for the extra 128 gigabytes, you're getting more from the S23. The screen on the OnePlus 11 is a 6.7-inch AMOLED LTPO display, which is a really big phone screen. The S23 is a 6.1-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X. It's a borderline compact phone, which some people prefer over giant phones. The resolution on the OnePlus 11 is 1440p, while the S21 is 1080p. You won't notice much of a difference just because it's a smaller screen compared to a bigger screen. There's a typo there. The refresh rate in both of these phones is 120 Hz, while the S21 gets quite a bit brighter with 1200 nits max and 1750 peak. This is just from my research. I'm not sure if the OnePlus 11 actually has 500 nits max, but 1200 peak is believable. They both have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but the S21 has an overclocked version for Galaxy. The clock speed on the OnePlus 11 is 3.15 gigahertz. It says 8.15. That was a typo. While the S23 is 3.36 gigahertz. The Antutu on the OnePlus 11 is 350,829. Well, that's the CP, not the phone itself. And the S23 is 373,012. So there's a bit of a difference there. You won't notice it really, but it's a difference. The GPU Antutu for the OnePlus 11 is 559,328, which is really impressive. The GPU Antutu for the S21 is 587,942. So if you're a really heavy gamer, then you'll notice that the S21 is a bit faster. They're both 5G capable, and since they're using the same processor, it's the same 4nm process. The cameras on these two are both triple cameras, while the OnePlus 11 has a 15 megapixel main, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 32 megapixel telephoto. The S21 has a 50 megapixel main, just like the OnePlus 11, 10 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. They both have 8K video recording, but the S23 records in 30 FPS, and the OnePlus 11 records in 24 FPS. Now, the S23 does zoom in to 30 times as opposed to 20 times on the OnePlus 11. The battery on the OnePlus 11 is 5,000 milliamps compared to the S21's 3,900 milliamps. There's quite a substantial difference there. The charge speed on the batteries on certain models on the OnePlus 11 is 100 watts. Now the US version is only 80 watts, but that's still very impressive, especially since the S23 only has 25 watt. The charge time on the OnePlus 11 can be as low as 27 minutes, while the S23 can be as low as 70 minutes. The battery life on the S23 is a little bit longer, which makes sense with the smaller screen. 8 hours and 54 minutes, while the OnePlus 11 can get up to 8 hours and 16 minutes, which are both very good battery lives. The design on the back of the OnePlus 11, in my opinion, is pretty noisy, but it is modern and it has matte glass, which I way prefer over shiny glass. The front has normally sized bezels plus a small hole punch camera instead of Apple's giant notch, which is very ugly. The weight is 201 grams, which is a pretty hefty phone. The back of the S21 is simplistic, modern, and has that matte glass again. The front has normal bezels and a small hole punch camera, just like the OnePlus 11, and the weight is 168 grams. You'll notice a big difference in the weight, which makes sense because the OnePlus 11 is a much bigger phone. It is worth noting that the OnePlus 11 also has curved glass, so it's harder to protect than the S21s. So the winner of these two is actually a very hard decision. It kind of depends on what you want. So the screen on these two are about equal. The processor on the S21 is better just because it's overclocked. The camera is subjective. That depends on software editing. No matter how many megapixels the camera has, it depends on which one you prefer, really. The battery is better on the OnePlus 11. Not because it has longer battery life, because it doesn't. It's actually shorter. But it charges much faster, and you're just going to get a lot more out of it. The design is subjective. I personally prefer the S21, but I put it as a tie just because other people might like the OnePlus 11. And the winner of these two phones? Well, there is none. They're both really good phones, and it depends on what you want. Do you want a big phone or do you want a smaller phone? Thank you for watching.